Yeah, it works pretty well. I tried it with a couple of the city council meetings, and it's pretty good.
Yes, the captions are great. So it picks up the captions very well. As long as people, use a medium outside voice, it'll pick up quite the distance.
That's good.
Thank you so much for recording, you guys.
Yeah, it says it is.
So how would I get this to for on the computer?
Are you on the computer right now, or are you on a phone?
I'm currently on the phone.
So that invitation that I sent you, an email?
Yes, and then it disappeared after I accepted, and so I went through Calendar, and I find it on Calendar, but I'm not sure how to join from the Calendar.
So if you open, go ahead.
I also put it in the email address, or in the email that I sent you guys last week. If you would like, I can forward that to you really quick.
That's right above. Oh, I see it right here. I'm on it. I forgot about that because yes, you did, and I let's see. The previous page is sending you to Zoom. Yes, that's where I want to go. What is it? Redirect. Okay, here we go.
You gotta love technology.
Box will probably pop up and ask if you want to launch.
Okay, I'm waiting for it. My computer is really dragging it. I really need to send it to a computer doctor. It acts like it's been invaded by a turtle.
I think I see you checking in. Yeah. So now what you got to do is.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to disconnect from the phone.
Okay. And now I will unmute you.
Okay. Let's see. Now I got to get rid of this screen. Okay, screen. Oops.
So at the bottom, if you go down there, you can see a thing to start your video where it says start video.
Got it. Right there.
There you go.
There you are. Look at you.
Oh, hi.
Hey.
So I got to get rid of this little stuff. And there we go. I see the agenda. Oh, thank you guys. I'm in. Yeah, I missed the public safety meeting because I was on a dog rescue and I was like 30 minutes late. And then it took me like another 15 minutes to try and get in on that one. And it was over.
Yeah, it was relatively brief.
I apologize so much, Brian, for not getting in there. But this dog was at my gate, literally outside my house. And I thought, well, I can't just ignore this.
No, you can't.
So, no, it's a good thing I brought him in, and the owner has cancer, and he actually, I'm going to just take care of the dog for him until he's able to get enough strength. And if not, he'll be joining me permanently until I can possibly find him a home after he gets neutered and vaccinated and stuff. He's a really good dog.
I'm curious, Trudy, with the work that you're doing, have you been able to find a funding source to be able to support that work?
I did put in a grant at Gray Muzzle for $10,000, and I'm waiting on the results of that. I just received an email today, but I haven't gone through it. This dog is named Rowdy for a reason.
Is someone helping you write grants?
No, I did it by myself, and it's been probably 20 years since I had a grant writing course, and it was difficult. I mean, with the technology that I'm trying to use, this computer, and it was horrible. I had to like try and do some of my information through email, and I said, look, I'm having a really hard time. Technical difficulties is killing me with this application online. So they actually made an amendment to their procedure and had me and accepted the information I was emailing them, and they were attaching it to my online application from their end. So it's really giving me hope, because I I cannot stand the condition of those kennels out there at the sewage plant. And I would just hope that we can possibly get a new shelter of some kind built in the near future.
Yeah.
Then not only that, I petitioned Lane County for this property and asked them to donate this property to my nonprofit, as they have in the past donated properties to nonprofits. We've been in this house 6 years. We've attempted to buy it twice. The most recent breached the contract, so we sued them and won, and they owe us $10,000. Back taxes are $8,000. So I asked, why don't we make a trade? Trade me the deed. I'm waiting to hear from that also.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So Dawn said that she'd be a couple minutes late.
Okay.
Apparently she's having computer issues. Amy, oh, there she is. And then Amy was double booked, so she won't be able to join us today.
Okay.
And then, did Lauren make it?
I do not see him, no.
Okay.
And he's not in the room.
Dawn, let us know when you're ready.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. But you can't see me yet?
Not
No.
yet.
I'm trying to figure out where. Oh, here we go. How's that?
All right.
There you are.
Oh, I should have had my computer an hour ago. Sorry.
It's okay. We were just chit-chatting. Well, I appreciate you guys being here. My goal is to hopefully not have this go the full 2 hours. It's really nice outside, and it would be nice to go enjoy, 20, 30 minutes outside before the budget committee starts.
I was going to
But-
say, don't we have another meeting?
Yes, we do. Well, and I think we could have got this done in an hour and a half, but I just kind of feel like maybe we should have been having 2-hour meetings since January. That way we can get the ball almost, well, I guess I'm trying to find a good analogy. So we can, finish up this task and move on to all of the other things that we had listed in our annual report that we wanted to do. But I guess first and foremost, how's everyone doing? Hanging in there? Lots of virtual meetings.
Yeah, I had my most recent was RAC, Rural Advisory Council, that I serve on last week on Friday. And I had Chrissy on there for a little bit, but she got called out. But it was really interesting. One thing I found interesting was that I asked about having a test station set up for individuals who might think that they have symptoms related to this virus. And they said, just go to your local clinic. And then there was, I asked, well, if there were cases in Lane County, like Eugene or Junction City, would they announce that? And they said, no, they don't want to let people know when their community has a case in it, because they didn't want to have a pandemic on top of the pandemic. So I'm kind of scratching my head still at that statement, because I'm not sure I understand that concept.
Yeah. Well, hopefully someone else can tap on that.
Oh, crazy, huh?
Well, so for agenda item 2, 2.1, review minutes, a little bit of feedback that I had, Trudy, was to look at this agenda and then line up the minutes based off of these agenda items. So, in the past, you've kind of had like 3.1, 3.2, all the way to like 3.6, even though we only have, a 3.1. So as you're writing out notes, just try to refer back to the agenda, and then I will also try to be more conscious about stating what agenda item that we're on, just so they parallel each other a little bit more.
Did you get the copy that I sent you? I always try to send you the minutes that I've done before in time for you to go through them and hopefully, you know, edit if as needed, because I know that I don't have a lot of experience in minute taking.
Yeah, no, and I do want to say I do appreciate you taking on that role. It's usually the least favorite role out of all of them, and it makes sense because it's time consuming and it could be kind of a pain in the neck. This month I did not have time to go in and make those edits, but I did send them out with the agenda and the packet of the resolutions. So other committee members can also give feedback on those.
Okay.
I did, some months I have more time than others, but this month has been,
Crazy for you?
yeah, the last 4 weeks have been pretty tight on timelines and all of that, but.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. Does anybody else have any feedback items for minutes or any discussion on minutes?
No, I'm good.
All right, so we'll jump down to agenda item 3 and 3.1. So last meeting we got through quite a bit. There was 2 topics that we still really need to hammer out. Were there others besides city councilor as a voting member, staff on committees?
Do you mean for all the resolutions?
Yeah.
I honestly don't have it in front of me. I'm gonna go see if my file folder's accessible.
I finally found it. Okay. When I was going through it, I thought everything looked really good. I'm like ready to push it through.
Oh, there, look at, you got them all right there.
I do. So this is the template. And as I mentioned in the packet that I sent you guys, I underlined the stuff that we had discussed and wanted to change from last meeting, and then highlighted the stuff that we still need to discuss. This is just the template that I've been working off of. But this is pretty much linear across all the other resolutions.
Right.
We
Now,
did get through, sorry, go ahead,
I'm
Dawn.
gonna say for me, going along with all of this since the very beginning, I'm comfortable with the way everything has transpired, with the exception of the there's a couple of things that were requested by that committee of ODAC that I don't think I'm okay with, but other than that, what the group has just been deciding, I'm comfortable with.
Okay. Okay, well, if there's not others that maybe we need to tap on and hammer out, then we'll just focus on these 2.
Yeah.
I guess 2, we could bring it up if we bump into it.
Are we going to be going over each individual resolution though, or as a whole, all resolutions?
I think what we'll do is we'll discuss, we have enough time today without trying to bump into that 2 hours, because I think having the 4 of us, 5 of us, it will go pretty quickly. So my recommendation would be that we start on these 2 points in the template, and then maybe we can go through really quickly and tap on all of the resolutions before moving on to 3.2,
Okay.
which is that discussion of dual membership. Okay, so let's start with the city councilor as a voting member. Essentially, I would like to have discussion on this first. I know we've had this discussion before. Do we feel like a city councilor should be a voting member, or do we feel like they should be an advisory member, but also acknowledging down here that they could be the chair or the vice chair? As we discussed last meeting, you can pull your vice chair, your chair, and your secretary from voting and non-voting members. So that does lend a little bit of a leadership role for a councilor member if the committee votes them into that position.
I'd actually like to hear from Brian and Trudy on that.
I don't mind it that a city councilor has voting ability because it goes through the city council in its finished stages. So can city council make any different changes if they don't like the resolution or something in the resolution at that time of going through it? Are they not able to make that change of yes vote or no vote
Yeah,
before the resolution?
yeah, council has like all, they can suggest any changes. We could send this all up to them and they could say, we don't want anything to do with that. We want to start from scratch, which let's hope they don't. But at the same time, I've heard an argument from a citizen who has volunteered on committees that it's like taking 2 bites from one apple. So as a counselor, you do have that final vote. Therein, they feel like the committee should be entirely made up of citizens. That way it's not like one counselor potentially pushing something back down to committee and not sending it forward to council, or vice versa, if all the rest of the citizens aren't ready. But that's just one perspective.
Yeah, I don't think it's any different than 3 citizens that have a monopoly on business aspects of our community.
Brian, do you have thoughts on this?
Yeah, if you're going to have a city councilor on a committee, I think they ought to be regular voting members. One, it's easier to gain a quorum, particularly on the smaller committees, if you're down 1 or 2 people.
Okay.
And to not have them vote, you're down to like 2 voting members. Gets kind of a little tenuous. So I would support the councilor voting if they're eligible to be on the committee.
Okay. And that same citizen, I will say, also had mentioned that the fact that they're 1 vote out of 7, they're not likely to significantly sway the vote or move anything. Okay, so I'm going to look for consensus, and then we're going to go one by one. Looking for consensus on allowing 1 city councilor to be a voting member on committees.
I'm okay.
Trudy?
I'm okay.
Brian?
Good.
Okay, and I'm going to vote yes on that as well. So we'll go ahead and find that. Okay, now let's talk about staff. We've had this discussion before. I'll go ahead and read what we kind of have in here right now. 1 staff member may apply as a citizen so long as there is no potential for them to be a non-voting member. That was kind of our compromise. In allowing a staff member to be on there, but not allowing them to be a appointed voting member, but more so, appointed by the CA to be a voting member versus being elected and appointed by the city council. So let's have that discussion. I know we've tapped on this before, but.
Could you do me a favor, Trish, and refresh my memory of which committee it is that has an appointment by the CA for a staff member? Is that the public safety?
So it's a lot of different committees. For instance, this administrative advisory committee, it's in the resolution that Brian is a voting member and that the city recorder is a voting member. So they weren't voted into those positions, they were just slotted per resolution, which gives the city a little bit more of an upper hand in terms of voting.
Oh, so what you're saying is that for example, if Brian is automatically on a committee, he's the only staff member that would be on that committee.
Let me just.
Or is it saying that another one could be as long as they're not Brian?
Yeah, so basically it's saying like in parks and community services where Rick would usually be on that committee as an ex officio member, he is not allowed to apply for that seat. He's not allowed to apply as a citizen because he already has an ex officio seat. Or sorry, we went away with ex officio with a non-voting member seat.
Folks, I'm sorry, I'll be right back. I got to open the door for Lauren.
Okay.
Okay, so my personal thought on that is, I I don't know how to explain this very well, except that I don't even know why we have to define that one person can't fill 2 seats. To me, that makes it way more confusing, because obviously if Rick is appointed to a committee as, you know, a staff person that's necessary for input, obviously he can't also fill a citizen seat. You know, to me, that's just, I don't even know why we have to define that.
Yeah. Well, one of the options too is just to leave it out, and that way it's not defined, and you know, each council can make their own decision. But right now we've had it where there's ex officio or non-voting members on resolutions. So for example, got a frog in my throat.
Can I return in a second? I gotta let Rowdy out to potty. He's gonna get real boisterous in a minute.
So I guess public safety is the only one really where they have non-voting members, but like parks. Yeah, so right here it'd be like one Oakridge city staff appointed by the city administrator.
Uh-huh.
And so in this scenario, it would be comprised of citizens instead of those staff automatically filling those seats. But the staff could still be non-voting members.
Well, on that one, the staff is a voting member. And then it looks like we would need to change the 3 citizens to 4. 1 counselor, 1 staff, and then, or 5 actually.
Yeah, well, that's
oh, here it is, 3 from regular and 2 from maybe from outside of city limits. I see. Okay.
So the argument though is, I guess the question is, do we want to allow staff, is our recommendation to allow staff to apply as a citizen? So no matter what, they're going to go to those non-voting member roles. But do we want to allow, and the thing about it is we could completely delete this and not even include it at all whatsoever. And that way the council can make up their own minds about how many staff members, or if they even want to appoint a staff member. But the reason why we call it out here is because, like we were saying, we don't want, you know, well, in theory, the argument was outlining only 1 so that there would be no room for, say, 3 staff members to go and apply to 1 committee. I don't know that that would ever happen. Or a staff member that's applying that's already appointed as an ex officio member, already sitting on that committee as a, non-voting member. It's just setting more guidelines.
Okay. What are your thoughts, Brian and Trudy?
I'm okay with as it reads.
Yeah, I think I voiced my concerns a couple meetings back, but I just come up with my background. I try to avoid conflict of interest at any cost, and there is a potential if you allow a staff member to, who has sort of innate knowledge of the subject, and he's not the advisor, but he's actually another member of the committee that's voting. You do allow an opportunity to prevent cause some conflict in there and try to push an agenda.
So Brian, do you think that the way that it's worded here could cause a conflict, or would not cause a conflict?
Well, I don't think any staff members should sit on committees as voting members. Let's just put it that way.
So I think the thought here, was like, right now.
This doesn't say that they're a voting member.
Well, if
Oh,
they're
as
not,
a citizen.
if they're a non-voting member, then then they would be more of a, let's say, an advisor that is either written into the resolution or appointed by me to advise the committee on issues pertaining to that expertise area. So Lauren is here, and what I'm hoping is I don't have my camera, my remote camera yet, so hopefully you'll be able to hear him when he has a comment, but you can move as close as you're comfortable with, but the closer to here. Okay. You're fine either with that, your choice. Yeah.
Okay, do you want to fill Lauren in and ask him what his opinion is on this question?
Sure. So what we're discussing now is staff membership on committees. We're going through the resolutions. And the question is, well, it's written up there. So I guess the first thing is, are you okay with that sentence? I just voiced my opinion that I'm really kind of opposed to staff being a voting member on any committee just because of the potential for a conflict of interest. And as advisor. Are you all hearing Lauren on this?
Not at all.
So he supports staff acting as an advisor to the committee in a non-voting role, and he does not support staff being a voting member of a committee. Is that correct? Not no to voting member, yes to advisory role from the staff.
Okay, so I guess how to word this. It was really hard to hear Lauren. I actually didn't hear him at all, but I guess we could just gauge where people are at. Trudy, do you feel like no staff members should be allowed as a voting member and they're not allowed to apply as a citizen? Or do you feel like where's the limitations on this?
I'm okay with as it reads, because Brian will be able to determine if it is a conflict and disallow that, right, to continue for voting. I mean,
it would be the council who makes the decision. But so for instance, if the community services director wants to be on parks and community services as a citizen, but he's already there as a non-voting advisory member, then he would not be able to apply, and the council would be able to read that resolution and say he's already a non-voting member, therein he cannot apply for that position. However, if someone like Officer Clevenger wanted to go and apply to parks and community services, he's not already a non-voting member on that committee. But it would be more of a conflict if he were going to apply to be a citizen on public safety.
As it reads right now.
Yeah.
I like how it reads right now.
Okay, so it still gives staff a little bit of an opportunity to get involved on committees that don't directly relate to their work. Lauren, how do you, when you read through this right now, one staff member may apply as a citizen so long as there is no potential for them to be a non-voting member. How do you feel about that sentence?
Right. So
No potential for being no potential for being
so in an example would be Rick, who is a non-voting member of the Parks Committee. However, he, if he wanted to become a citizen member, he couldn't because he has the ability to, or he has the potential of being a non-voting member because he already is.
the non-potential of being a voting member.
So someone like Officer Larson, if he wanted to apply as a citizen to be on the Public Safety Committee, technically he has the potential of being a non-voting member because we have a police department representative on the committee as an advisor. Was that a good example?
Yeah, from what I could hear of it, yes.
So in this sentence, a staff member could still be a voting member of a committee. Is that a correct statement?
As a citizen, but only one. That's where they're like, we're putting those sideboards on there.
So it's limiting staff participation as a voting member to one person, as opposed to no staff members can vote.
So each staff member of staff can be
A citizen
voting
member
a citizen member,
voting.
but not two, not three. So we're just enumerating.
We're just saying it's limited to one person.
Well,
One staff member can be a voting member of each committee.
Because it enumerates quantities, I would not be in favor of that. Because on the admin committee we have violated that. I would not be in favor of enumerating staff members voting or not.
Did you hear that?
No, we can't hear Lauren at all.
Sorry about this, but so he is not in favor of enumerating the number of staff members voting or not in any way. So
Okay. So I think what we'll do is we will put this out for,
Trish,
yeah, go ahead.
I haven't actually given my opinion on it, and I agree with Brian and Lauren. I think that that whole sentence could just come out, is I think what they're saying.
Well, I think Brian, I mean, maybe Brian, I don't want to speak for you, Brian, but my understanding is that there would be sideboards in stating that no staff members are allowed versus nixing that whole thing. But if we completely remove this, then we leave it wide open where any staff member can apply for a committee because it's not spelled out anywhere that they can't.
Oh,
yeah, that's correct. I don't know of anywhere it says that they cannot be committee members.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's the point of having that in there so that you are, one, mitigating conflict, and two, mitigating how many staff personnel can be on a committee, even though you kind of have like a sideboard within a sideboard. Like you can be, one staff person can be on a committee as long as they're not a voting member or a non-voting member in an advisory role. But
well, my personal opinion is that it should just be the only staff on a committee would be non-voting.
so you're in line with Brian, whereas Lauren wants to leave it open.
No, he doesn't want staff members to vote either.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so then we feel like we could maybe reword this to say no staff are allowed as voting members.
Change the one staff member to no staff member. May apply as a citizen member, period.
As a citizen member.
Or something along those lines.
So no staff member may apply as a citizen. Non-voting members. And okay.
So then we would define if there was a person assigned as a staff person assigned as a advisory.
Yes.
Right, advisory ex officio type thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay. So I'm going to look for consensus from the committee. No staff member may apply as a citizen. Trudy?
Nay.
Yes.
I mean, yes. Nope, wait. No staff member may apply as a citizen. Ah, I disagree with that. I think they should be able to. I liked how it read before where they could, and then city council could say, no, that was a conflict.
Okay. Well, right now we can revisit if it fails. So your vote is no. Dawn? Or
Yes.
sorry, you want me to ask you last?
Sure.
Okay. Lauren?
Read it again one more time for him.
No staff member may apply as a citizen.
Yeah, he wants to put in a follow-on statement to say they can be appointed as advisory members.
So that's where in each committee resolution we have non-voting members. So you'll be able to see that once we get into those other resolutions.
Okay, so
So it's already there.
Professional experience because issues will come up that if you have on hand a person quickly, matters will flow quickly. So if we recognize them as a experienced representative.
Maybe they can swap seats when it's his turn to speak, so we can.
We can't hear either of you now.
how about now?
Yes.
He still wants to recognize the value of staff and the fact that they are encouraged to be advisors to the committees. But you say it's somewhere else in the resolution?
Let me show you guys. Oh wait, oops, let's go back. Okay, so here we have non-voting members, city administrator and city recorder. I believe did we say we were gonna move city recorder from this? Brian, it's up to you if you think it's valuable for admin.
Well, it's one person right now, so I would say that it would be helpful to have the recorder on there, particularly if we ever get a full-time recorder.
That's fine. We can leave it there. So that's an example of a non-voting member, and we would just write it in there. I know that there's one. Sorry, tell me if I'm talking too loud. I feel like I have to yell.
No, you're fine.
Okay, and then I think it was the public safety one that it says, you know, whoever the CA appoints to that position.
Right. That brings up a good point. Do we want to define exactly who on the staff sits on the committee, or do you want to say a representative from the police department or a representative from the public works department?
See, and that's where I think public safety, chief of police or designee, fire chief or designee.
Right.
In those places, I think it's okay to be a little bit more lenient. Whereas administration, it wouldn't make sense to put someone from public works in there, but I don't think that would happen.
Right.
But I think it just all depends on what that committee needs. Like I think RTMP and TRT, we kept the finance director as an ex officio.
Non-voting.
Yeah. But let's finish this vote and then we'll get into it. So was that, we'll get into the individual unless we need to take a step back and do the individuals first. What was your?
So we're going to define the non-voting members in this. It'll be defined in each individual resolution.
Yes.
Yes.
Does that make sense, Lauren?
Yeah.
Okay, he sums up to that.
Okay, so was that a yes or a no to this language, Lauren?
Are you good with this? Yeah, it'll, well, no, right there, it'll say the non-voting members, in other words, staff, and you put them out by job. So CA or whoever it is. Yep, yep. Right. Yep, he's good.
Okay. Dawn?
I'm good.
Okay, and I'm a yes. Brian?
Yep.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, well, those were the two major bites that we needed to take. I think I'm going to close all of these and we're going to go in order. I do need to take a bathroom break really quick, so if anybody else needs to take a bathroom break, do now.
You just muted yourself. Oh, she just left.
I'll be right back, sorry.
That's fine. Hi, Trudy.
Hey, Don. Now I'm gonna reach around and grab my cup of tea. How's everybody? How are you doing? How's your poison oak?
It's actually way better today.
Nice.
Like I have some raised spots on my skin on the back of my arms that I'm afraid if I scratch them, they might, you know, like ooze or something. But all the rest of it is feeling like I can rub it and it's fine. It's going away.
Not producing any oils when you rub it?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, salt is a good dehydrant for any kind of oily type of rash.
Yeah.
I forgot all about that because I've been dependent on Technin.
I'm back. Let's jump into this. Sounds like someone has poison oak. That's not good.
Yeah, me.
Okay. So jumping into Administrative Advisory Committee, we're going to go ahead and change this language. Okay. So essentially this has everything that our main resolution has, or our resolution template has. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty on all of these, so I think what we'll do is, if any of you have very specific feedback to that committee, then we'll take that into consideration. Otherwise, we're going to go through and we're going to vote these forward to City Council one by one. Does
Okay.
anybody have any specific feedback for admin?
I still have the same question.
1 sec. And I'll go ahead, Lauren. I'll translate.
I still have the same question. How many times counselor been on the committee? We have another counselor who says he is a citizen, which I cannot wonder how that could happen.
Okay, the concern he has is having two counselors on a committee. And given only the resolution says one will be the chair or it doesn't really say that, but it says there'll be one on the committee. So he has a concern with the counselor filling a citizen seat.
Yeah,
So,
go ahead, Dawn.
so the council actually just passed council rules, which states in there that a counselor cannot fill a citizen seat unless they apply and go in front of the council and get approved by the whole entire council to fill that seat. So once those rules are in effect, which is later on at the end of this month, I believe the 30 days will be up, then I will no longer be on this committee unless I go in front of the council and apply and they appoint me. And that would be true of all committees.
Let me get some feedback.
So the chances, I'm going to speak correctly here, the chances of committees being overrun by in-kind council thought with no regard to staff expertise or citizen input is great.
So you think there's a chance of a counselor being put on a committee by the council? So what you would prefer is to prohibit any counselor from even applying to go on a committee?
So that's not what we're doing here today. That's something I think that you might have to write the council about because it's under their council rules and procedures. And right now we're just talking about committee resolutions. So I do want to focus on what we have in front of us today. With that being said, I'm going to call for a vote to send the updated recommended administration advisory committee resolution to city council. So let's start with Trudy.
Yes.
Lauren?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Let's go Brian,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Okay. Let's go to audit. And this one's a little bit different in the structure just because there's only 3 people. Does anybody have any specific feedback for audit committee resolution?
Not I.
None here.
None here.
Okay, I'm going to call for a vote to send forward the new updated audit committee resolution to city council. Let's start with Lauren.
I will vote in favor.
Yes.
Okay, Trudy,
Aye.
Brian,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
and I'm also a yes.
What was Lauren's? I couldn't hear his.
He was a yes.
Okay, got it. 5 yeses.
Okay, does anybody have any specific feedback for the library resolution?
Not I.
This one's a little bit different because we allow the different area codes to participate or apply.
So 6 citizens with at least 3, and then in parentheses, it has a 4. So one of those needs to be changed.
Definitely.
Oh, I see.
I think it's 4, yeah.
If I remember this correctly.
The numerical 6 isn't present. That's probably how I missed that.
Reside. That describes the category. You have 3 that do not reside in Oakridge on the library board.
So Lauren mentioned that it describes a category, so it's 6 citizens, 3 of which do not have to reside in Oakridge, 4 of which must reside in Oakridge. So, does that make sense?
Right here it says 4 need to live in Oakridge. So that means the other 2 could live in West Fur or High Prairie.
Does that make sense, Lauren?
Yeah.
He's okay with that, yeah.
Okay, any other feedback before I call for a vote? All right, looking for a vote to send forward the recommended library board resolution. Trudy,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Lauren?
Yeah.
Aye.
Don?
Aye.
Okay, also me. Super informal. Okay. So already I did add in one non-voting member that I thought might be helpful, but we don't have to put them in there. I just highlighted it so I would remember to mention to you guys that we should discuss it, which is that Chamber of Commerce representative. Do you guys feel like someone from the chamber should be on ODAC, or do you feel like it's fine with the voting members that are there?
If I remember right, we had this discussion with Linda from the chamber, and she was all in favor of someone from the chamber being on it. So I'm okay with it because she spoke for them. I wouldn't want to do it without their input.
Okay. It does seem that they should work collaboratively, but.
Makes sense to me.
Did Lauren have feedback?
Do you have any feedback, Lauren?
Was it a voting member?
No, ex officio.
Ex officio, yeah.
Right. He's okay with a non-voting Chamber of Commerce. Rep.
Okay. Okay, does anybody have any other specific feedback to ODAC?
Well, there's the one that the pushback that they gave, which I think you recall, was they didn't believe a city councilor belonged on it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Are we just gonna, how do you want to address that? Just press as is and see what happens?
Yeah, and we did discuss this. I know you had a different meeting that you were at last month, but seeing that we voted it forward for all committees, it seems right to leave it in there. But we could discuss it.
1 second, let me hear what Lauren has to say.
Vested interest can happen for economic development with some public officials. To begin on the up and up, straight across the board, I would suggest a city councilor not be a voting member.
Lauren's concerned about the vested interest of the counselor and is supportive of not having a counselor on the ODAC committee.
Okay, well, we did already approve across the board to change the structure of all committees and to include one city councilor within that. So part of me doesn't want to get too hung up on it. We are going to give the feedback to council that we got from all the committee members anyway. So I think in that they'll see it, but I hesitate to change the structure of one committee when we already voted within our resolution template to include that for all committees.
Right. So did you get that? So ODAC is going to have an opportunity to speak before council if they and speak their voice about the concerns they have.
So with that being said, ultimately, Lauren, you could vote to not send this resolution forward, considering we are doing them one by one.
He understands.
Okay. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to call for vote for sending forward the updated Oakridge Economic Development Advisory Committee resolution. Trudy?
Aye.
Lauren?
Nay from Lauren.
Okay, Brian?
Aye.
Dawn?
Aye.
Trish, aye. Okay, so that passes 4-1. All right, Parks and Community Services. Does anybody have any specific feedback for Parks?
I noticed one more time the number 3 is spelled out and then 4 is in parentheses. I think it should say 4.
Okay,
There you go.
thanks, Dawn.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't hear any discussion on this. Maybe one more second for a lull.
1 sec. Let me listen to Lauren.
3, 4 enumerations are just categories.
So how would you want to change the way it reads?
At least citizens are with at least 3, 4 of the citizens residing in Oakridge City. We have from the 7, 4 reside within Oakridge, 3 reside outside.
So you're saying they have to reside outside?
No, they don't have to, but they can reside. They can accept 3 citizens from outside of Oakridge.
Right. Well, that would be allowed the way it reads now. So you're okay with that? No. So Lauren is good with the way it reads now.
So that's a yes.
Let me get this straight. This means that 3 citizens outside Oakridge can serve on the committee. Is that correct? Up to 3 citizens?
Only 2.
2. Because you have a counselor and you have 6 citizen members. So 4 of them have to come from Oakridge and the other 2 can come from outside Oakridge. Okay. He's abstaining for now, so.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and put this forward for a vote to send forward the Parks and Community Services updated resolution to City Council. Let's go, Trudy.
Aye.
Lauren, abstaining?
Abstain.
Okay. Brian?
Aye.
Dawn?
Aye.
And then Trish, aye. Okay, public safety. Again, this one was a little bit different. So shall consist of 7 voting members and 6 citizens within the emergency response area, with at least 3 of the citizens residing within Oakridge city limits. Does anybody else have any feedback?
Nothing here.
Not aye.
Okay, I'm going to call for a vote to send forward the public safety resolution to City Council. Lauren?
Yes, I'm allowed.
Aye.
Okay, Brian?
Aye.
Rudy?
Aye.
Dawn?
Aye.
Trish, aye.
Now, I have a quick question on this one, Trish. Only in that at the top, your title of this document is RTMP and TRT, but the actual resolution is only RTMP.
As it sits right now?
Correct. I mean, the existing one and this revised one both in the title on the top of the document.
Okay.
It says Rural Tourism Marketing Advisory Committee. That's RTMP.
Okay. So I guess that's something that council could discuss, but right now we'll leave it as, wait, where am I at? Oh, I see, right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's safe to just leave it how it was from the old resolution, and then.
Right. I think it should stay that way. Yes.
Okay. And then here I highlighted other people that could be involved with the Rural Tourism Marketing Program as non-voting members. Parks and Community Services Committee representatives, so that could be anybody on that committee. It doesn't have to be the chair. And maybe someone from the Chamber of Commerce. But I would be curious what you guys think. I don't think it's binding, so even though it's in here, they don't necessarily need to show up. But as I was going through these, I thought it might be good to get their perspective.
Does anyone else have a perspective?
Well, you could always do and or. I'm fine with it.
So I know that in the history of Oakridge, the chambers had a big part in RTMP. So I'm okay with it, but have we asked the chamber if they're okay with it?
I haven't talked to anybody about it, no. I guess we could change it to say, well, no, because I'm gonna have to do that for all of them. But, you know, my thought there was that it's not binding. Like if it's more so a hand to them to say, if you want to come share your priorities with us or any insights that you have that might help us strategically invest this money.
Mhm.
Yeah, but just because it is dealing with tourism and a lot of the economy in Oakridge is trying to be based off of tourism, and chamber is directly tied to economy.
Hang on a sec. Let me get a question from Lauren.
Does the committee recognize the fact that RTMP funds are used to support local holiday events and to make more enjoyment and socialization of the city? While TRT funds are presented to the city for the county for large, I would say, city, we'll say expenditures on healthy environment for the city. In other words, one is to hold events to encourage citizens to enjoy themselves. The other is for a city expenditure towards advancing a city cause or a city choice of how they want to spend it, basically. So there are two different funds, and I think they should be addressed differently.
Okay, let me see if I can
Yeah.
reinstate what he said here. So he sees RTMP funds as used to promote civic events, special events, tourism type events. He sees TRT funds as city expenditures to improve.
So we're only talking about RTMP here.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, so he says those are for city, community events, get-together type events.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I don't want to get too far down the rabbit hole. I think that's why my thought there is that we could have someone from the Chamber of Commerce come in and share their priorities for where they think it might be strategic to spend tourism dollars, RTMP dollars, or someone from the Parks and Community Services Committee, which would be more tied to TRT. So I could see maybe that argument for someone from Parks. But you know, like Parks is consistently working and thinking through how can we improve our parks, which are just not just for citizens, but also can be for tourists as well. For instance, the disc golf basket, they've been working on that project. And if they were having direct conversations with as a non-voting member and being in an advisory role, they would be able to share the work that they have been doing in their committee, and in that might be able to find funding for these projects. But I think the quicker answer is to delete these.
I would agree with that if by
But-
having them there means that they have to be a part of the committee, because I definitely think that anyone from Parks Committee or from the chamber could come and watch these committee meetings and participate, you know, if they had input without being designated in the resolution, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
So
I guess having it written in there, though, it gives them a little bit more room at the table. But I'm perfectly fine with deleting them. I really don't want to spend too much time on this. I just thought it might be a good conversation to have if we thought it was going to be valuable.
I mean, I could go either way. I don't care. We could we could leave it there for now and tackle it in council, because that would give us time to talk to those people and ask them their thoughts on being part of it.
Okay. So,
Yeah, one sec.
okay.
If you submit this as written, Chamber of Commerce, then that is limiting the recognition of other committee groups, UBRA, Kiwanis, Party, what have you.
He says if you submit this as written, where you include the Chamber of Commerce, you're excluding other groups such as UBRA, Kiwanis, other types of similar organizations, community groups.
Okay, I think that's fair. So we can go ahead and delete them, but do we want to leave Parks and Community Services Committee representative?
Yes.
I'm actually okay with taking them out.
Okay. Trudy, do you have an opinion on any of this?
I don't.
Okay, maybe we'll just leave it out, and it's something that if any of the other counselors bring it up once these are in front of them, then they can discuss it.
That's what I figured.
Okay, so I'm gonna look for a vote to send forward the Rural Tourism Marketing Program resolution to City Council. Dawn,
I
Lauren,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Trudy,
Aye.
and Trish, aye. Okay, well, that is that for
are we done?
that portion, yes. So let's go back to our agenda. So on here we have 3.2, dual membership between ODAC and Planning Commission. You guys will remember before we did discuss this, well, we had it on the agenda. We didn't have enough time to discuss it. I previously shared this draft recommendation memo with you guys. Obviously, we talked about this in January. It is now April.
14. There you go.
Okay, so the purpose, I'll read through this really quick and then I'll open it up for discussion just so you guys can see kind of some of the groundwork. So this memo is intended to provide information and recommendations to the Oakridge City Council for members of the Oakridge Economic Development Advisory Committee and Oakridge Planning Commission who are voting members on both committees. Background information, this is the scope of the Planning Commission. I'll go ahead and read it just because we have time. Ordinance 6951, the commission shall have the powers and duties provided for by ORS 227.090, other state law, the character or the charter and other city ordinances. 2, the commission shall function primarily as a comprehensive planning body proposing policy and legislation to the council related to the growth and development of the community. In addition to the authority provided in subsection 1, the commission may A, review the comprehensive plan and make recommendations to the council concerning plan amendments which it has determined are necessary based on further study or change concepts, circumstances, or conditions. B, formulate and recommend legislation to implement the comprehensive plan. C, review and recommend plans which relate to public facilities and services, and sub-area plans which relate to the community to implement the comprehensive plan. D, assist in the formation of capital improvement program. Review and make recommendations concerning any proposed annexation. F, conduct hearings, prepare findings of facts, and take such actions concerning specific land development proposals as required by city ordinance. G, advance cooperative and harmonious relationships with other planning commissions, public and semi-public agencies and officials, and civic and private organizations to encourage the coordination of public and private planning and development activities affecting the city and its environs. I don't know what that means, but.
Environments.
Okay. I think I copy pasted this, so. Recommend to council and other public authority plans for promotions, development, and regulation of industrial and economic needs of the community in respect to industrial pursuits. Advertise the industrial advantages and opportunities of the city available of real estate within the city for industrial settlement. Encourage industrial settlement within the city. Make economic surveys of present and potential industrial needs of the city. Study needs of local industries with a view to strengthening and developing them and stabilizing employment conditions. Study and propose in general such measures regarding land development as may be advisable for promotion of the public interest, health, safety, comfort, convenience, and welfare. So that was all the Planning Commission scope. And then we have the Oakridge Economic Development Committee scope based on Resolution 11-2018. The purpose of the Oakridge Economic Development Advisory Committee is to be an advisory body to the City Council and the city staff by providing input concerning economic development within the City of Oakridge or the Oakridge Industrial Park. This committee is also known to discuss property sales at the industrial park. Oh, I wrote that last part in there, but just because it wasn't clearly stated in their scope. So this is the Oregon law around ex parte communications. Let's see how long this is. I'll read through this really quickly. Ex parte communications are discouraged and, if made, must be disclosed to ensure an open and impartial decision-making process. To accept as provided in this rule, an ex parte communication is any oral or written communication that A, is made by a person directly to a commissioner or presiding ALJ outside, I don't actually know what that acronym means, so please don't ask me, outside the presence of any or all parties of record in pending contested case or declaratory ruling proceedings. B, is made without notice or an opportunity for rebuttal by all parties. And C, relates to the merits of an issue in the proceedings. 3, for purpose of this rule, a contested case or declaratory ruling proceeding is pending when the commissioner or ALJ issues the first scheduling notice. 4, a person who has an ex parte communication must properly notify the presiding ALJ that the communication occurred. 5, upon notice or receipt of an ex parte communication, the presiding ALJ must promptly notify the parties of record of the communication and place the following in the record: the name of each person who made the communication and the person's relationship, if any, to a party in the case, the date and time of the communication, the circumstances under which the communication was made, a summary of the matters discussed, a copy of any written communication and other relevant information concerning the communication. The presiding ALJ may require the person responsible for the ex parte communication to provide the disclosure and notice of the communication required by this rule. 7, within 10 days of the filing date of the notice, a party may file a written rebuttal of the facts or contentions contained in the ex parte communication. The provisions of this rule do not apply to communications that address procedural issues such as scheduling of status inquiries or requests for information having no bearing on the merits of the case. B, are made to a commissioner or presiding ALJ by a member of staff who is not a witness in the proceeding, are made to a commissioner or presiding ALJ by an assistant attorney general who is not representing staff in the proceedings, are made in rulemaking proceedings conducted under ORS 183.325 through 183.410, or The presiding ALJ determines are not subject to this rule, including communications from members of the public that are made part of the administrative file or communications that are subject of in-camera proceedings. To avoid inadvertent ex parte communications, a person planning to meet individually with a commissioner or ALJ must indicate whether the discussion will relate to pending proceedings, and if so, which proceedings. So essentially that's saying if you're gonna have contact with someone outside of a meeting that's coming to your commission, you need to, and if you've had contact with them, you need to state that up front. So the reason why this might be relevant in this scenario is right now we have 3 members on ODAC who also sit on planning commissions. So there could be a scenario where there's conflict in ODAC, them meeting a potential business owner coming in to Oakridge through the Economic Development Committee, and then they may go forward to the Planning Commission. And so long as they declare that they have had this interaction with them, that's okay. So really quick, we'll hit on, sorry, that's really long-winded, but I felt like it was important.
Fish, I want to make sure though that it's clear, not only do they just have to declare that they've had the previous conversations, they actually have to document summaries of those communications and provide them.
Okay, you're right.
Part of the record, which is a lot of work.
Yeah. Okay, so we had, Brian went forward and asked our attorney a couple of different questions. Most times when the Planning Commission meets, it is also an ODAC quorum by their resolution. Is that okay? The city attorney says yes. If a quorum of governing body gathers to discuss matters outside its jurisdiction, it is not meeting within the purview of the public meetings law. While the purposes of both bodies are similar, clear communication that a meeting is accomplishing the goals of only the Planning Commission should prevent any unplanned meeting of ODAC.
Sorry, I'm not sure I'm following that. If a quorum of the governing body gathers to discuss matters outside its jurisdiction, so that's saying ODAC.
Mm-hmm.
What does outside of its jurisdiction mean?
So I think it's saying if they're not in a specified ODAC meeting, but they are still a quorum of any governing body, so there's still a quorum of ODAC, but they're meeting outside their jurisdiction in the Planning Commission setting.
Oh, okay.
Within the purview. So it's basically saying just because they're at Planning Commission as a quorum doesn't mean that they're there to represent ODAC.
Oh, right. But it's not,
But I think right here where he says clear communication that a meeting is accomplishing the goals of the Planning Commission should prevent any unplanned meeting of ODAC. So I'm not sure what defines clear communication, but let's get through the second part and then we'll open it up for conversation.
Okay.
Is it okay to have mutual members between ODAC and the Planning Commission? It is an interesting question as some land sales may eventually end up on the Planning Commission agenda as the property is developed. And then the city attorney says, is it legally permissible? Yes. Planning Commission membership is limited under ORS 227.030 and under the Oakridge Code Chapter 3.2, and neither source limits Planning Commission membership based on ODAC membership. As a policy matter, the council could determine dual membership on the Planning Commission and ODAC is not in the best interest of Oakridge. So down here, I've kind of written out my concerns, but I'd like to hear what you guys have to say before I share my own personal concerns.
Concern,
Let me listen to Lauren here real quick.
I don't believe this whole process of dual is thought out very well. I believe in order to understand the nature of the people who serve on these committees, you should meet with them and talk with them, questions get answered. This would help you better. Let's not rush this. It's a big picture.
So Lauren says that he doesn't think the dual element is understood well, and it merits sitting down with the individuals, discussing with them, talking it over with them, what their interests are. instead of it.
Isn't that covered in the application when applying for the seat?
You said you'd be able to listen to them and understand that they're very vested in the communities and the what they represent, the city they represent. But would that be done in when they interview for the membership to the committee? Would that be? The admin committee? The admin committee should have a look. Lauren thinks it bears a larger discussion with the admin committee and the committees involved to understand it more completely.
Okay. More so, I mean, the council's going to discuss this at our upcoming work session. So I think us as a committee, it's our opportunity to give our perspective. So with that being said, we don't really have time because unfortunately this has kind of been pushed to the final hour. To
Hey, Trish,
go ahead.
maybe in the section 4, you could put Lauren's concern there that he, because we're forwarding this on to council. So one concern is that maybe the members of both committees should talk this out. Or I'm wondering though, I mean, I understand his thoughts on that, but I'm wondering if that shouldn't be a recommendation that the council discuss it with those committees and kind of take this committee out of it. What do you think about that, Lauren?
Question. What is the time essential of this particular decision?
Why is this decision time critical is his question.
So the city council is going to discuss all resolutions, and if it needs to be written into the ODAC resolution that there be no dual membership between Planning Commission and ODAC, then it's on city council to make that adjustment. I don't feel like that's something that our committee can put into a resolution. I do think that that is outside of the realm of fixing the structure on all committees. So this is a very specific topic. Therein, I figured we wouldn't tap on it entirely too hard. We would just provide any concerns that we have with that and allow the information that we've gathered to go forward to council. And as the attorney says here, it's a policy matter of the council that could determine dual membership on the Planning Commission and ODAC is not in the best interest of Oakridge. But another one of our recommendations could we do nothing.
He said, yeah, for a while. My thought is perhaps it becomes a discussion point that the admin committee brings up and possibly an agenda item for council and maybe the attorney to dial into to give that perspective and then allow some discussion without having to vote on a resolution while we're doing that. Yeah, Lawrence got it.
Personal opinion only. I feel very embarrassed bringing a faulty suggestion to the council without having general agreement all committees, because admin committee is supposed to keep all committees informed, work with all committees, and come to a larger
So he's concerned of bringing possibly a faulty recommendation to council and really wants to have the larger discussion with all committees involved here.
So I would like to get feedback from other committee members, but the other option is to delete 4 and 5 and just send forward the information that we've compiled. That way we're not providing a recommendation at all whatsoever. We're just presenting the information that we've seen. But I would be curious if, I guess, trying to think of how to move forward, whether we should call for or look for consensus on removing 4 and 5, or do we feel like we should have discussion around 4 and 5? Being administrative. Sorry, go ahead.
Could you scroll so I can see what's under number 5? Oh,
So those are my areas of concern. I guess I'll just go ahead and bring it wide open, and other areas of concern that I've heard. So, and it's actually right now, ODAC is down to 3 members. So 3 of the 3 Oakridge Economic Development Advisory Committee members also serve on the Oakridge Planning Commission. Lack of diverse members amongst business-related committees. So we have 3 people who sit on both committees and are overseeing a lot of the business-related work. And then businesses coming to Oakridge may interact with ODAC, then go to Planning Commission and see the same people serving. And this could make Oakridge look unprofessional and small time.
One sec, a question from Lauren. Overall, how many vacancies are there on all committees in the city right now?
what?
Total vacancies across all committees, I'd say there's, well, depends on whether it's a new resolution or the existing resolutions, but and ODAC doesn't have a firm number, so it's a moving target.
I have a spreadsheet going, but go ahead, Trudy.
I agree with your concerns. Those are my concerns as well. But that's about it. I think that council can take what the city attorney has provided and come up with, you know, a plan of action for whatever they need to.
Anyone else have any thoughts? The 2 options, I mean, we could delete 4 and 5 and just send forward the information that we have, and that way we're not providing a recommendation.
On that, I would say possibly remove number 5 because that's the only one that has recommendations. And I agree with Trudy and you on the areas of concern. Those 3 bullets that you put, I would say I agree with as well. They should go forward to the council.
One sec, Lauren.
Again, now warned that very few people want to serve on committees. Very few. But it's very hard, and to have a body, well, it's very hard to get people to serve on a committee.
So Lauren's concern is that it's very difficult to find enough people to serve on committees, and this would even limit that even further.
So something that I've found in speaking with people is it's not so much that people are uninterested in participating on committees, it's a lack of awareness. And so one of the things that we outlined in our annual report was starting to put together some type of recruitment strategy to get more people involved on committees. And I think personally, it's important that we have diversity in our committees. And if you're unable to fill seats, then it's on the council to go out and do more recruiting. I think in the past it's been posted to the city website or Facebook versus more direct engagement from council. So that could be changing our entire process as a council and doing, you know, only filling committee vacancies once a year or twice a year. That way it's not on a rotational basis, and we can do more events and more face-to-face to bring people in. And for the most part, yeah, it's been by word of mouth.
Give me one second. I finally got a camera for him. Or at least a microphone.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and delete any recommendations that we make, but let's talk about,
Interjection.
Not yet. See if the microphone works for him.
Okay.
Can you hear him?
I can see him.
There now. Comment on your term diversity. Now,
Something happened.
hello?
Can you hear him?
Now I can.
Okay.
Okay, comment on your word diversity for committees. I will say for myself only, that the opportunity to attend a planning commission meeting, you would find diversity. We don't go at each other, but we go at issues. And we go deep in those issues, and we have opinions that are very different. So your diversity is with the people that you are trying basically to make non-existent. Can you hear me now?
You guys copy all that?
Yeah, I heard that.
I agree that there can be diversity in perspective, but I would also like to see diversity across the board. So that means not the same people sitting on not seeing the same people sitting on committees, particularly if it's the same people. With that being said, do we have any other areas of?
Could you describe your desire of the word diversity?
Yeah, so young people to old people, like, you know, I would like to see, I was really excited to see someone younger than me apply for the budget committee. I think that level of diversity, people who are new to Oakridge, people who have been in Oakridge their entire lives, you know, obviously Oakridge lacks any type of racial diversity, but it would be great to get more racial diversity if possible. But mostly generationally is what I think when I think diversity, and also new residents versus old residents.
Trish, I was raised here, and we actually have had a great increase in racial diversity. It's just getting information to those individuals and the opportunity to be involved, I think. So the recruiting, I am definitely looking forward to. And the three concern that I have is that monopoly factor that I was uncomfortable with. That's my input.
Question?
Yeah, go ahead, Lauren.
Do you believe that committees should have, let's call it a general leadership of a committee of people that are very, very vested, interested, and are willing to read and rewrite an 1,850-page manual to update city codes?
The question was, do I think that there's people who are passionate that sit on committees?
Should committees have a knowledgeable, capable leadership, call it, established members who know very well, are very versed and to help guide the committee along. And should they have people that are willing to read and revise an 1,850-page manual?
I mean, I feel like that's kind of a silly question in that I don't serve on all the different committees. I think that everybody brings different strengths. You know, for instance, Dawn has been a huge help on this committee for me. Trudy's brought her strengths in writing the notes. And, you know, you come with great opinions. And I'm not asking you to write an 1,800-page memo. You know what I'm saying? So I think each committee is different in its dynamic. And I think the point is that not everyone on the committee should have to write an 1,800-page document to prove that they're worth being on the committee. So with that being said, I do want to hear other areas of concern on this particular topic, if there are any, and if not, that's fine. I don't think we'll have to vote to send this forward to council because it's just an informational and not a recommendation.
Okay, one interjection. Again, based on what you have just stated, I tell you, it is very important that you have conversations with these committees, the members, and get to know their processes and understand them more than just a hatchet job of the people that are on there.
So how would you like me to reword this last bullet so that we can capture your concern? Right now I have it as, would like to have an opportunity to bring in members from both committees to share information.
Take out the word like. Both committees should come together. Committees should come together, or would like, take out the word would like. Committees come together to share the information to make a more determined process.
I'd like to have an opportunity.
Not would like, take would like out. Put committees should come together, represent themselves so they may have a more determined process. This is very vague.
I'm just wondering if that would be an area of concern or if that would be a minority report or whatever we might want to.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Well, Lauren, how you're describing it is very confusing for me. I don't understand what you mean by
You're saying you would like. Would like?
I understand that. So we'll get rid of that so we can get over that being a sticking point. So bring in members from both committees to so not share information, but
to compare, to understand language, you know how on the collaborative, so many people from different areas get together and make the language appreciative. You're on many committees there, very many committees at the collaborative. Bring members from the committee to the Administrative Advisory Committee for discussion of how to make a more determined process.
okay, so you bring in members from both committees in order for,
To develop a more determined process.
I just don't understand what, in order to develop a more determined process. I'm trying to figure out what that means though, in order to develop a more determined.
Okay, your process is very vague. The reality is, you know that a committee only has 3 members. A reality that this city shares in lack of participation for committees. You say you have a design to bring people to committees. Well, these committees are always shorthanded and have been shorthanded for years. I don't know if your quick design is going to change it, but a design is only a design, and this is real, and this is practical, and this is going on now.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and leave and bring in members from both committees in order to develop a more determined process. Does anybody else have anything?
No.
No.
Nothing here.
Okay, so this will just be an information memo that moves forward to City Council from the information that we've gathered.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's all I've got. And as promised, we got done a little bit early today. So,
Counselor, can you hear me?
yeah, go ahead, Brian.
So the only thing I has is as a strategy or a way ahead, when and how do you want to bring these forward to council?
So I'm going to put them in a single document packet for you, everything that we voted forward today, and I will send that via email. And I think that alongside the annual reports and the survey responses will come before council at our special meeting.
Okay. You want to do it in the special?
Yeah, I think that,
Yeah, wasn't there a work session?
yeah, sorry, isn't it a work session special meeting? Is that what it's?
Work session and then an executive session right beforehand.
Yes, that meeting. I think it makes sense to talk about all of that in parallel.
So put it on the work session agenda.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Okay.
So real quick, I may have just misunderstood something. Brian, are you referring to the meeting this coming Thursday?
No.
This Thursday's council meeting, right?
No, do you remember last council meeting, Dawn, we said that we were gonna put a meeting on the calendar for next Thursday?
23rd, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, but Brian mentioned Brian mentioned a
I put on a half-hour
executive session.
session, the half hour prior to the work session.
Oh, I thought that was for this week.
No, that's on the 23rd as well.
Oh, okay. Then I'm the one that's confused. Okay, I got it.
All right, everybody, have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trish.
Bye-bye.
Can someone send me the link for the budget meeting?
I will, the recording you mean?
Invite?
The recording I will post on the city website under the, on the calendar. Does that work?
Are you talking about for the for this meeting that we just did?
To attend the next budget meeting?
Oh. Well, the budget meeting's it's in 20 minutes. Just, you can just stay online if you want.
Okay.
Oh, is this the same link?
Meeting ID number?
Yep, same meeting ID number.
Okay. I'll stay on hold.
Aye.
Thank you.
Yep.